What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and today we are going to be building a rogue for our little character build. I've been doing a lot of warlock. I did an animal cleric, and I think it's time we do some other different classes. Today we're going to be doing a thief sort of rogue. If you guys checked out my previous video, I did a video all about D&D's Beyond, awesome character creator. And today we're just going to be focusing on making a thief rogue, somebody who's sneaky, somebody who sneaks around and gathers information, steals things. Not so much into the combat, but more about the expertise and being the skill monkey that your sort of team needs when jumping into the fray. So we're going to be doing a good old standard build here. We're going to turn off all the sort of homebrew and the Magic the Gathering stuff. We're just going to kind of go with just the base book, which is what I usually like to do for especially going in there. So we have a variety of different things here. Erico are nice, but their flying is pretty nice as well. They do get that dex and that wisdom, which is nice. The flight and the talons. So pretty nice character overall. The flight is what really sells it. Also with their bodies or with their flight, they can't wear medium and heavy armor though. That's the one thing about them that you have to kind of keep in mind. So while Erico is also a very great choice, I think what we're going to be doing is we got to go with more of a like half elf. I always like half elf characters because you can kind of build them however you want. As you can see here, they have like dark vision, they have immune to being charmed, they get a proficiency in more skills, and they also get an extra language, which is very helpful. On top of having common and elvish, it's just nice. So the ability score increases that we're going to do is going to be dexterity, and then we can put one into wisdom. So pretty nice one going forward. As for skills, I usually like having a little bit of sleight of hand, and we'll say that they are very good at persuasion. So a guy that knows how to talk his way into something, and he also knows how to slide his hand in and grab some things. Maybe he's a posh elf going to a posh elf sort of party, and he's trying to go in and sneak around and grab, you know, the thing that he really wants, and trying to do like a little minor heist in the mix. Or maybe he's talking his way into a armory and trying to speak with the local marshal. And as he's talking about some issues with trogs and stuff, he finds a really nice sword that he likes, and he manages to slide it up his shirt and keep it there. However well he sneakily gets past that, depending on his roles. As for speech, there's a lot of different ones on here. It really depends on your type of campaign. I typically like going for more of the sort of maybe like dwarvish or halfling. Some things that you would typically find. I'm going to go with good old draconic though, because maybe you want to start kind of there's lots of draconic things out there such as dragons and things. Maybe you're trying to talk to the dragon, which is always a bad idea, and you happen to see maybe something in the dragon's hoard that you want to kind of steal. Maybe that's going to cause the dragon to cause some mischief later on, or maybe you want that dragon to purposely get mad and you steal that item and then you put it in your opposing kingdom's sort of vault. There's lots of different things you could do with that. So we'll just keep that, and we will go for rogue, add the rogue on there. And what we're going to do is we're going to get this up to level 6. So getting pretty much the full gist of what the character is. Actually, we'll go with more of a level 3 actually, just to get us a taste of what sort of things we can do. Yep. So we'll confirm that, and now we get to choose our proficiencies and our rogue skills. Ooh. So we already had sleight of hand, which now it's no longer on the list, which great job to D&D Beyond for making it to where it actually is updated and works functionally. We're gonna go with stealth, because you're not a rogue unless you have stealth. Doesn't make any sense without it. Let's say that they are very good at perceiving things. Oh, did not mean to click investigation there. They're very good at perceiving things. This guy can walk into a room and see everything he needs to know. He's never caught off guard. He sees and he knows exactly what is going on. And on top of that, he's good at deception. He's good at lying and deceiving. So that's pretty good at there as well. And then for our final thing, we could do performance, we could do acrobatics, athletics, insights. Maybe he has good knowledge of knowing things or recalling things. So for our type of character, he's going to be more of the type that's going to be going into the heists and things. So I'm going to give him insight, though acrobatics and athletics are obviously really good skills as well, depending on what type of campaign we're going for. So you really can't go wrong there. Now for rogue expertise, this is those things that gets a little bit more of a bonus than anything. I'm going to go with stealth and sleight of hand, but we could also do the thief tools. Maybe he's performing a heist at night and sneaking in, but our guy, he seems to be more perceptive and deceptive, and has a little bit more of charisma thanks for being a half-elf. So, and plus not to mention later on we can get a little bit more expertise as well. So I'm going to go with sleight of hand just for the beginning stages. Nice, simple, easy way of just sneaking in and getting our way and talking our way and also pickpocketing and getting what we really want. Plus, not to mention, hey, maybe you finish your first mission with your friends and you pickpocket a little bit of gold and you go to the local inn and you have a good time and maybe go to a bar and have a few drinks on them, technically. There's a lot of different cool things you could do. Rogue archetype, we're just going with the thief for right now. The thief just feels like a good move. If I could click. There we go. So, we got the thief. So, let's now level up to level 6. So, we've now done our little bit of adventuring, and I think it's time that we choose a ability score here. Or we could choose a feat. Very tight pick here. I'm going to actually choose a feat. Now, there's lots of feats in the game. I could go on and on and on. I would probably choose alert for this. Getting a little bit more proficiency and helping us out with that would be pretty nice. As for ability score, if I were to change up my ability score, maybe I want to be extra stealthy and have a little bit of charisma too. Kind of build myself to be the charismatic rogue, when I can talk into things and get into wherever I need to go. So that way give us a nice little bonus over there. We have uncanny dodge now. Now when a attacker you see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to half that amount of damage to you. So maybe the heist went wrong at the dinner party and they go to attack you, or they see that you had stealthily grabbed that and they had their perception up and they saw that and then they go to attack you. You could still have enough time to see what is going on. Now we get to choose 2 more expertise. So now that you manage to get struck at, you have to figure out an elaborate way of dealing with this problem. So it made you a little bit more perceptive in getting into that. And on top of that, you're thinking, maybe I should work a little bit more of my persuasion. I could have talked my way out of that a little bit better. So now we've got that in the midst. So now let's go up to level 9. What will happen at level 9, I wonder? So now we have evasion. So evasion, you can nimbly dodge out the way of certain area of effects, such as a ancient red dragon's fire breath or an ice storm spell. When subjected to this effect, it allows you to use your dex saving throw and only take half the damage, and you instead take no damage on a success and only half if you fail. So pretty awesome ability there, especially with all of our dexterity and all of our miss. So now we've learned a lot more about our character, so let's say that we boost out those spells a little bit more. He's got kind of his dexterity and charisma out the way. Let's actually say that he is now, he's already kind of had to learn to dodge a little bit more, and it's starting to get a little bit harder for the campaign for him to talk his way through situations. He has his high persuasion anyway, so he's already very persuasive. So why not just increase those dexterity? And we also got Supreme Sneak, which gives you an advantage on stealth check if you move more than half your speed on the same turn. So very nice. We got more advantages to our good old sneak ability. So now we have a pretty decent character, and from here it basically kind of is up to you where you go with this character. So now from there, we're going to go to next. So what I like to do is I always like doing the point buy system. You can do the standard array, where you can kind of put the points wherever, or have the certain things where you just pick the standard array, which is always nice. But I am always a point buy person. I love the point buy system. So obviously we want stealth to be our highest stat, and we're gonna have charisma be our second highest stat. So putting that there, I always like having at least a 12 in that. He's gonna have a little bit of wisdom, otherwise he's gonna have a really bad time. We'll say he has a little bit more intelligence. Let's see, where else can we put that extra point, huh? I guess we'll put a little bit more into Constitution, just in case we want to put a point of Constitution later on in levels to give us a little bit more health, especially going forward. So as you can see here, our base stats right now at the moment is a 19 in Dexterity, a 17 in Charisma, and having a bunch of stuff here. Now, if you don't want to build as Charisma type of rogue, you can go back and try to change that around to obviously making that a nice 20 in Dexterity. I just kind of like having it to where I kind of plan out to where I have 2 giant stats to where I can always get myself around things. So pretty nice altogether, and by this point you should hopefully have magical items to help amp up some of your abilities and things. So now we get to choose our background. Well, our character, he is probably more of a criminal slash spy. There is the charlatan background that would fit a little bit more, but I kind of want the bonuses that come with this one. So now we get to choose a skill upgrade. So we already have a lot of skill upgrades as it is. So we'll say that maybe he's a little bit more athletic than he looks. He's very able to jump around and get around things a little bit more. That's where he learned how to get all that dodging stuff, and it really came into play later on. Let's see, he's got dragon chest, he's got a dice set, maybe a playing card set. I would say in this scenario, I feel like the playing cards probably plays more into effect. Everybody loves a game of cards. And then of course you get to choose what type of tool you want to use. Obviously the thief tools are kind of already learned, so perhaps we want to learn something different. Maybe he wants to have sort of brewing supplies to help make drinks at these parties and show himself as a little bit of a bartender, get himself behind the counter and show really cool tricks as he makes his drinks and everything, but in reality he's pocketing what is behind the bar. Or maybe, for example, he is disguising himself so that way he can get into the parties a little bit more. Maybe he's already kind of made himself a little bit too notorious and needs to have a fake mustache and goatee. There's lots of different things. Or perhaps maybe he has a little profession on the side, such as tinkering, to help make smoke bombs and other ways of getting around things to get out of his sort of situations. There's also criminal contract. You have a reliable way of sort of somebody on the inside, whether they be a spy or a other criminal who can get you into the black market. It's a nice person to have on the side there. And then of course we have all of our characteristics here. So for us, maybe you always have a plan when things go wrong. Maybe for example, you're very greedful, or perhaps you're loyal to your friends, but if it involves you getting close to dead, you kind of find your way out of it. So that's a pretty good one to have. Now we gotta think about our bonds here. What type of character are we really going for? I will become the greatest thief ever lived. That pretty much fits the thief down to a tail. I turn tail when things look bad. I have a tell when I'm lying. If there's a plan, I forget it. Or if I see something valuable, I can't think about it and I have to steal it. That fits pretty well with what we have here. So now we get to choose our alignment. Well, he's looking like he's pretty neutral, to be honest, or a chaotic neutral. I feel like he's got things a little bit more down to what he's going for, so I feel like he's just kind of a plain neutral. not quite that bad. And I feel like he's probably lives a more comfortable sort of play style. So he's probably, comfortable. So 2 gold pieces. Obviously, not all DMs play that way, but that's one that's really nice. And then you get to choose your hair. We'll say that maybe he's a blonde. And we'll choose blonde because maybe later on we can dye it to darker hair colors. And it's a little bit easier to do with that. Let's see, like a very pale, or actually we'll say like golden skin color. So he's got very golden. We'll say he's got very much some blue eyes, real charmer in the mist. Since he's an elf, we'll say he's roughly 6'1", maybe let's say 6'2". He's very dexterous, so probably about, we'll say about 180. Distributing out the weights, very tight muscles, things like that. And we'll say he's an elf, so maybe in his 50s, which is still pretty young for an elf. And we'll say that it's a male. And then from the physical characteristics, we've already added a lot of our things here. So he's always got a plan to do when things go wrong. He's very kind of selfish. If it looks like somebody is going to die, he'll try to get himself out of it, and whatever happens to his friends happens to his friends. Maybe the heist at the party goes wrong, but he steals the item and runs away, and his friends kind of have to sit there and fight the guards for themselves. He's very much all about stealing these famous artifacts and getting things that are very valuable. If he sees a legendary sword being sold at an auction, he'll figure out a way to get that sword in his hands. So even if it doesn't always work out. So we got different things. Maybe he's already got his criminal allies in the mist. Maybe he works for an organization. Maybe he's got enemies. It all depends based off of your campaign. So we can choose our starting equipment or gold. I always like choosing the equipment, just makes it a little bit easier. So for us, we're going to choose the rapier, the short bow, and we're going to go with the burgling tools. So that way he has, all the different items and things to kind of help him out. And he's also going to have the thief tools that comes with his criminal background. So having the thief tools and the expertise with the thief tools and the burglar pack all together, along with having a ranged weapon for attacking at range. Maybe he's halfway across the party and your friends are getting attacked, but you sneak around and you manage to shoot a bolt right when it gets bad. Or maybe he's assassinating the guards outside so that way he can sneak into the party. Having that quiet sort of weapon while stealthing is very important, especially going forward. And the rapier is obviously one of the best sort of weapons to have. And then we have, of course, our leather armor and our 2 daggers that we can sneak in with the party. Maybe hide the short bow and quiver somewhere later on. A set of dark clothing, including a hood. That way we can obscure ourselves. So maybe the things, like once we steal the item, we don't want people to know where we are. So we put up our hood and we walk out the party. So all good things regarding that. So now we can actually look at all of our different things here. So our leather armor gives us an AC of 11, which is very nice, plus our dex bonus. So we'll go over here and we'll look at our character sheet for this character. So we have our level 9 rogue here. Not the strongest person in the world. Very dexterous, very much knows how to bounce around and almost dances around on the battlefield. A little bit of constitution, just enough to give us a little bit more health, especially going forward. Having 57 health is not bad at all. Intelligence, he's not stupid, but he's not smart. He's very average. He's not the mastermind of what he is. I mean, he's going to try to steal items that he very much should not be stealing. But he has a little bit of wisdom. He knows roughly how to live on the streets if it gets down to the point of it. Charisma, he knows how to talk his way through any situation, and we have that proficiency bonus, which is nice. And we have a nice high initiative of +4, and our armor class with our armor, we technically actually have a higher thing of 15 with our armor, because the leather armor is technically 11. So nice 15 AC there. Now, on top of that, we also have our sort of saving throws here. We actually have a relatively high intelligence and dexterity one, which is very nice. So we don't get really fooled with mind tricks. We're very keen in some ways. However, when it comes to being thrown into a fight, we will definitely be falling there. But we do have a +8 in dexterity, so basically we can bounce out at anything, especially with a lot of our other sort of things that we got along the way of our sort of feats and traits here. If you guys remember, sort of the uncanny dodge and the evasion, how it's based off of dex. We're pretty much always going to be able to get out of sort of area effects situations, which will make it nice for when we start fighting things like dragons and stuff later on. Now, the main thing is, look at that passive perception. That passive perception is at a 19. Pretty dang high. Pretty nice for our little rogue here. Now, the main thing about this is the skills. If you actually look at the skills here, we have an 8 in acrobatics. So this person can really jump across and climb wherever it's really needed. On top of that, we have more in our athletics. So athletics is usually a stat that doesn't happen with a rogue, but we can actually manage to compete a little bit in maybe like certain things. Animal handling, we got +1. I always like having animal handling. I don't know why, it's one of my favorite like sort of skills in D&D. Deception, we're very good at being deceptive. History, no, we don't know our history at all, but we have a little bit of insight. We can recall and know things a little bit better. Intimidation, a little bit of intimidation in the mist. Not quite there. They aren't going to laugh at you, but you might be able to intimidate them. Highly unlikely. A little bit of medicine if it gets down to, you know, sort of backyard surgery. And then on top of it, our perception is so high. We will never have anybody sort of sneak up on us. We can perceive them instantly. If you roll a d20, if you get anything above a 10, you pretty much have got it. You'll have a 19. And if you get any higher than that, then you're in the low 20s to high 20s. Imagine if you get a 19 plus that, you get a 28. It's pretty good. Performance, we can perform a little bit if it gets down to it. Persuasion, though, look at that persuasion. 11. Wow. Basically, it doesn't matter what you roll. You'll be able to get a decent persuasion off of it. So once again, what's really nice is having that half of the die. So from 10 and above will always be a 20 or above. So that's very nice, especially for what we're doing with our character. Sleight of hand, very able to sleight that hand at wherever we need, and having stealth. We also have that sort of extra stealth. So the expert stealth here, or the supreme stealth, I'm sorry. You have an advantage on a stealth check if you move no more than half of your speed. So if we're sneaking up slowly for 15 feet, which is still pretty good, we can actually have more of an advantage. So you roll for your sneak. Say you get like a low number, like a 10, you still got a 22, and then on top of it you get your advantage. So adding like maybe your proficiency, which most DMs do. So you'll have a good old 26 on just a regular 10 roll. Pretty good right there. So having all these different feats is going to be nice. Having, we have like a person on the inside. We know how to do Thieves' Cant. We know how we have a bonus action to where we can disengage and dodge and hide if need be. We have all of our different sort of things here where climbing no longer requires extra movement, and you can increase your cover by 4 feet. So very nice sneaky character. We have our dark vision, so we can see in the dark, making it easier to shoot with our crossbow. We also are immune to being charmed or being put to sleep, so magic is not that big of an issue for us as well. So very nice character overall, and even with the fixed point system, we still have 57 points of health, so not bad at all. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys do enjoy my build of building a thief character. The half-elf one is pretty nice, so it's a different way of getting into it. I look at this character as more of like a high skill monkey type of character. This is a character that you use for a heist to get what you need and get out. But you also have all the different dodges and taking less damage able to kind of escape. So this character is one that can run away from a situation and still survive, which very much fits with our kind of description of our character, which, as you guys can remember from our trait, how whenever a plan goes wrong, they run away, and if it involves them dying, they can, still run. So having it to where we can run, we can climb, and get out of pretty much any situation, which is ideal for a rogue. So I really like this character, and I really like the kind of idea of sort of a thief character that is able to just run away, and running away is actually a viable solution compared to most people where it's do or die. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos. I have a bunch of different content coming in as well. Also, check down link this below. I'm doing some different merch. We've got a bunch of Galaxy merch that is looking hella dope. It's going to be really awesome. We're also going to be starting a podcast pretty soon. I want to be trying to talk to a bunch of creators, some people that are a little bit bigger and out there, and then some people that are a little bit smaller. So I'm just trying to get like a feel of just talking to a bunch of different creators and kind of build up this channel a little bit more to where it's not just World of Warcraft and Divinity Original Sin, and kind of have like a vast variety of different content. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.